Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by today for another tutorial. If this is your first time stopping by on my channel and you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload new video. And also for all my returning subscribers, you are all highly welcome and I appreciate all of you. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to draft a corset top with a yoke. This is a requested video by one of my subscribers on Instagram, and I am going to make a full one all the way to the hip, but you can also make it up to your waist and the concept is all the same. All right, so we will draft the corset today, and on another video I will show you how to sew that. Okay, so sit back and let's get into it. Okay, so now to draft the corset, you're going to need the basic bodice pattern. So I have gone ahead and input all my lines on this pattern paper, and I have a tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice pattern on my channel. I will leave the link in the description box below so you can watch that if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice pattern. So let me quickly go through the lines that I have here. So this is my guideline and this represents the shoulder line. And so I'm going to take these key measurements from my shoulder line to so from my shoulder line I mark the bust point, which is right here, and then I mark my under bust, which is 14.5, then my waistline, which is 16.5, and I also marked my hip line, which is 24 inches plus 1 inch for the seam allowance. So I am going to make a full corset in case if you want to just use it and make a blouse, but if you want to make up to the half length and then join a skirt or a peplum in the bottom, is totally up to you. So I'm just going to show you the whole concept. Okay, so once you marked out all your lines, so next thing I'm going to do to get because the one that I'm making, the corset that I'm making, is going to have a yoke. Okay, so I'm going to draft the neckline before we continue. So first of all, I am going to mark out 3 inches from the center front. So this is my center front. I mark out 3 inches. Then I mark my shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder is 16 inches. I divide that by 2 and I have 8 inches. And I'm going to add a ½ inch for seam allowance for joining the shoulders together. So once I have that, I'm going to mark. Okay, so like I was saying, I am going, once you mark out all this and mark out the your neckline and the shoulder, I will come down from the end of this shoulder tape. I'll come down 1 inch to get my shoulder slope like that. And then I am going to use my ruler, connect it to the 3 inches I marked here. You mark it like that. So this is now my shoulder slope. Now from here I am going to get my armhole line or arm side. So the way to get it, you divide your armhole, you divide your bust by 6 inches plus 1.5 inches. So mine is my bust measurement is 38. I divide that by 6. I have 6 point something. Then I added 1.5 inches, giving me 7.8, but I'm going to round it up to 8 inches. So I will mark that here. I place my tape here and I get the 8 inches. So this is my 8 inches right here. And I go ahead and connect the line. Then I'll draw it out here. So now this represents my chest line measurement. Okay, so I'm just going to draw that like that. And then I'm going to get the midpoint of this 8 inches, and that's 4 inches right here. From that 4 inches, I will get my I'll go in by 1/2 inch because the front armhole, it goes in deeper than the back armhole. So once I do that, I will draw the line here with my French curve. Just going to connect that here. Okay, so I might as well just go ahead and place my bust measurement. My bust measurement divided by 4 gives me 9.5 inches. All right, so I place that 9.5 inches here, and then I'll connect the armhole like that. So I've created my armhole right there. So moving along, the neckline that I'm working with, remember this is going to be, upper portion here is going to be the yoke. Okay, you can make your corset without the yoke, but I'm making mine with the yoke. Okay, so I'm going to go on this shoulder line, and I'm using the neck width of 4 inches, so I mark it right there, and then I come down by 4 inches for my neck depth. So 4 by 4 inches, and I connect the lines together with my French curve like this. All right, so now after you've marked it, you have something like this. So now the next thing is to take in our dots. So this is the bust point right here. This is my underbust, my waistline. Now I'm going to divide my nipple to nipple measurement into 2. A nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. I will divide that into 2, and that gives me 4 inches. So I will come here on the bust point line. I'll mark 4 inches, and I'll mark 4 inches on the underbust, 4 inches on the waistline as well, and then all the way to the hip line if you're making a full corset. So I have it like this. I'm going to connect all the lines together. So this is where we'll be taking out our dot. Okay. So this is the nipple to nipple line, which is 4 inches. Okay. All right. So once you're done with that, the next thing is to take out our dots. So this is my waistline. So I'm going to come here. I'm taking out 1 inch on both sides. Okay, you can use 1.5 or 0.75 depending on the measurement of your bust. So for me, I'm going to use 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side, and then on the bust, I will mark out 1 inch on both sides as well. Since I'm going all the way down, I will mark it down to the hip line. So I'll take out the same dot here. All right, and I use my ruler and connect it straight. Okay, so these are our dots, 1 inch here and 1 inch there. Okay, so once you're done with that, the next thing is to determine the distance between your bust point line and the under bust line. The distance between your under bust point line and the under bust line. So the distance between the bust point line and the under bust line. So for me, mine is 3.5 inches, as you can see, or you can just do the calculation. From my shoulder to my bust point is 11 inches. My shoulder to under bust is 14.5 inches. So I'm going to minus 14.5 inches minus 11 inches, and that gives me for 3.5 inches. So with that 3.5 inches, I will come here on the bust point, place your tape rule like this, and then I will mark it right here. Then I will go here, keep placing it and marking all around to get the radius, which will be our guide. So you can see, you just keep marking it all around until you get the complete radius. So this is just simply a guide to creating the cup. Okay, and then I'll mark it here as well. Okay, so this is what we have. This is our guide now to create the cup. Okay, so now before we move on further, I am going to be you have to determine the neck depth you want the yoke to be. All right, so remember we have the 3.5 inches as our as the guide here. I will come from this bust point and take up that 3.5 inches like this. So that will now represent our upper bust line. And if you want, you can as well mark 7.5 inches from here, from the shoulder line. As you can see, I took up the 3.5 inches, and then this is it. And if you measure it from the shoulder line to 7, it gives you 7.5 inches. This is it. So this is where our upper chest line will be. And I mark it like this. Okay. So now once you mark that, we are ready to create our cup. All right. So now, since we have our upper, this is our upper chest line, I will come down from it by 1 inch. This is the 1 inch, and I will mark the line like this. As you can see, so from that I came down from the upper chest line here. I came down by 1 inch, and then on that 1 inch I am going to go in this way by 1/2 inch. So this is my 1/2 inch right here. I mark it. I'm going to mark it all around. This is just as a guide. Okay. All right, so I will connect that 1/2 inch down here, down to the under bust line. So this is the 1/2 inch down to the under bust line. All right, so once you have that, we're going back to the bust point so we can create the cup. All right, so I'm going to come down from the bust point line by 1/2 inch. I mark it right there, and I will go up from the bust point line again by 1/2 inch. I mark it right there. Okay, so now once you do that, see, this is the my half an inch from the under bust line, half an inch down, and then half an inch up. So once I do that, I will now connect this half an inch to this dart leg. Remember, we took out 1 inch on both sides, so I'm going to use my French curve like this. You place it and then you connect it right to the under bust dart like this. Right, so you can see, and then you will do the same on this side. You flip your French curve like this, and then you connect to this dart leg, as you can see here. So this is what we have so far. Okay, and now we are going to connect this half an inch. Remember, I came down by 1 inch from the upper bust. This is the upper bust. You can see right there. So we're going to connect this this half an inch down here as well, using this side of the French curve. So you're going to place it, make sure that it gets to the dot like this. So once you do that, you have something like this. So as you can see, we are slowly forming the cup. Okay, so now we're going to go back on this side to create the one for this side. Now on this side is where the side seam is, and the bust area is more fuller on this side. So in order to accommodate it, we're going to add, remember we have a 3.5 inches right here. From that 3.5 inches, we're going to add half an inch. I'll add the half an inch right here, as you can see. I added the half an inch. So we're going to now connect that half an inch down to this dart leg. Okay. Alright, so we connect it to this dart leg. Make sure you blend it in so you don't have any sharp edges. So as you can see how our cup is slowly forming. Alright, and now we are going to take out, we're going to extend this line. Since we're going to have a yoke, just watch closely what I'm going to do. So we're going to extend this nipple to nipple line, extend it to the upper bust line like this. You just extend it, and then you come on the shoulder line, and you're going to divide that into 2. In order to divide, you measure it like this, and then you fold your tape to meet the tip of the shoulder like this, so we can divide it. And I mark it right here. I mark what I have right there. So I will extend this nipple to nipple line all the way up to this shoulder line. I mean to half of the shoulder. This is so that I can create, extend it like this. You can see right here. So now we're going to take out the same 1 inch we took out from this from the underbust and the waist. We're going to take out the same 1 inch as well. So I will mark 1 inch here and then 1 inch here, as you can see right here. All right, So once we do that, I will use my my French curve. We're going to connect that 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side to this 1/2 inch above the bust point. See the 1/2 inch we took out from above the bust point, so we'll connect the dart to it. Let me make sure I have the correct. Yep, so this is 1 inch. Then I'll place my ruler, my French curve rather. I'll place it like this. And then I connect, and then I go on this side, flip it around, and then I'll connect it. Now can you see what we have so far? Okay, so now I'm going to just simply use my French curve, place it like this to meet this line, this nipple to nipple line. So we're going to close it up on this side now. Alright, so once you do that, and then to close up this side, what you're going to do is place your French curve in such a way from here, from this nipple to nipple line. So you're going to place it just so you can blend it into this armhole, because remember this will be the yoke. So I'm going to place it like this. Try to blend it as much as possible because it's going to be blended with this armhole here. Okay, so you can use your free hand and do it. Basically what we do is, you know, connect it to blend into this armhole. As you can see right here, just blend it as much as possible. Sometimes it's difficult to use your French curve to do it one time, but I hope you guys understand the concept. All right, so you see I connected this 1/2 inch to this nipple to nipple line, then blend the rest into the armhole, and that's what I just did. Okay, and so once you do it, and then we have to close up this side, you just place your French curve like this, or use a straight ruler, and then you blend it into this armhole line. You blend it like this, and that's it. We have drafted our cup. Now our cup is basically ready. So this is 1 and this is 2, because we'll be cutting out these are going to be cut out and then joined back together to form the cup. So what I like to do is I will label, in order not to get confused. You see, this is our center front. I like to point my arrow this way, that this is the center front, and this side is the side seam. Side seam, I put SA. I'm sorry, side seam. Just SS. So this will, so that when you're ready to cut this out and join it on your fabric, so that you will know that this is the side that will face that way. And then you can as well mark up. This will be up, and I put side as well. I'll mark side going that way, and this side will be up. center front, and then I like to put you join here. That means we're going to be joining once we cut it out on the fabric. Okay, so I hope you guys are following so far. So that's how, you know, you create the cup. So now the next thing to do is input all the circumference and measurement. All right, so this is my let me extend this line. This is the chest line. Let me just extend the line. I hope you guys are not going to confuse with all this line. So this is my chest line, and I'm going to put my bust measurement. Remember, I already put my bust measurement, which was 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches. 38 divided by 4 gives you 9.5 inches. So now I'm going to measure what I have here. I have about 0.75 inches, so I will add it back. Here, and from there I'll add 2 inches for seam allowance. You can add the seam allowance now or when you're ready to cut it on your fabric. It's totally up to you. So I add my 2 inches for seam allowance. And then on my underbust measurement is I'm just going to do the same for the underbust and the waist. So my waist measurement is 34. Divide that into 4. I have 8.5 inches. And then remember, we're taking out 2 inches here. I will add the 2 inches back. Then plus the 2 inches for the seam allowance. I mark it right here. Then on the hip line, my hip measurement is 44. Divide that into 4. It gives me 11. I mark the 11 inches here. Then plus the 2 inches we're taking out here, I'll add it back. And then I add my 2 inches for seam allowance. And then I am going to connect the lines. Okay, so you have something like this. So now if you're making yours to be very full, you can come here. You can go up here by 1 inch, so you don't have this sharp edge at the side. You just use your hip curve and blend it into the what you go up by 1 inch, and then you just blend it in like this, so you eliminate that sharp edge. Okay, so that's basically it. And remember, we are cutting all this off, and then we're going to cut this out. So don't forget what I said. If you don't want to make yours like full, then you will just stop here. It's up to you. If you this is just how you create the corset. This is the full corset. All right, so now we are ready to cut it out. And then if you're just making it up to the half length, you just stop on the waistline and just cut it out. But the concept is all the same. Okay, so now we're going to cut this out. Let me start from here to cut. cutting it out. So this is what you have. Okay, so this is the center. This is the center front. So this will be cut on fold. You cut this on fold. And then you will join it here. And then this will be joined here, as you can see. And then this is the yoke. So this is what it look like, the front, and this is our side. We'll be cutting 2 of this. Cut 2. Cut on fold. This will be cut on fold as well. Center front. Cut on fold. Okay, so this is what you have. That's how you cut your full corset weight yoke. So now we're going to move on to cut the back. Okay, now to cut out the back, what I did is I got another pattern paper, marked out 1 inch for my zipper allowance, and I just draw the shoulder line and all the way to the armhole line, and I also draw the chest line. Then I place my front yoke like this, and also the side piece of the front, and then I place the center front just to get a guide and not have to put in a different measurement. So once you place it like I showed you here, you go ahead and trace it out. Also for the armhole for the back, remember that it's not deep as the armhole for the front, so keep that in mind. All right, so now for the neckline, I came down by 2 inches and kept the same 4 inches for the length, and I marked it in. Then I traced the sides and the hemline just like I'm showing you here. Use my ruler to connect them. All right, so keep in mind where the chest line ends. You make sure that you leave your yoke on the chest line, and after that you go ahead and mark out all the lines. So I marked out the bust point line, the waistline, and get my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches, and mark it right there. Mark it on the bust point, waistline, and the hip line. Then I use my ruler and connect the lines. And now on the waistline, I'm taking out 1/2 inch on both sides, and the same on the hip line. Then I use my ruler and connect it all the way to the chest line. And then I connect it down to the hip line. All right. And then that's basically it for the back. Now for the yoke, if you want, you can just cut through the chest line, or you can just draw a little curve. You can come down by 1 inch or 1/2 inch, and then use your curve ruler to make a neckline for the yoke. And that is it. And now I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut out the yoke. Like I said, you can decide to just cut through the chest line and have it straight, or you can put any design that you want for the back. So I'm just going to cut out the sides, and then I cut out the dots. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you haven't already done so. If you watched up to this point, please do the needful and subscribe. Okay, so this is the back. As you can see, I have the dot split in half. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch. On the front, you also add the seam allowance all around. You add This will be cut on fold. You add the seam allowance, half an inch here. So we add the seam allowance 0.5, seam allowance 0.5, seam allowance. You add it all around, and as well here 0.5 seam allowance you add, and also on the neckline you add 0.5 inch seam allowance, and the same goes for the cup. You add 0.5 seam allowance all around, 0.5 inch seam allowance all around. All right, so remember the direction that they go is very important, and you'll be cutting 2 of this and 2 of this on your fabric. You cut 2 of the lining, 2 of the fabric, and 2 of the wording. So when I will make another video and use one of my fabric to show you how to sew and join it together. So this is the front. You will join these 2 together, and this is the center front, and this is the yoke, and these are the back. Okay, so this is the back. Okay, so that ends the tutorial for today. I hope it has been very helpful, and if it has, please give a thumbs up, like, share my videos, comment, and leave any style you like me to do a tutorial on, and I'll be happy to do it. So for now, I say bye, and don't be a stranger. Share, and come back often for more tutorial. Bye for now, and I will see you soon.